Okay, good. So I want to go over the grid system. So under CSS, grid, you can find the grid system, or you could just type it here. So I already showed you containers. If you take out containers, then you can see that your text or whatever it is will start all the way from the left and then all the way to the right. If you put in a class equals container, then it gives these nice margins, which makes your page look a little better. So here they show you how to do it. Just stick in class equals container into your div, and then you'll have these nice margins. Okay, so you have to think of Materialize as having rows and columns. So whenever you start coding, you're going to put div class equals row, and then within each row, you can use up to 12 columns. So let's start with that. So like I said, I like to separate code. Nav should be in nav tags, and your main content should be in main tags. And then here we can create our row. So div class equals row. And then within each row, we can use columns. So here's an example. If we want a div to take up the entire row, you give it 12 columns. If you want it just to take up half of the row, you give it 6 columns, like this example. Actually, I'll type it out for you. So we do div class equals call for column. S stands for small screen. I'll get to the different sizes, but we'll just do S for now. S12. And then let me see if I can stick in a button in here. BTN, no. It's actually the full word. Button tag class equals button. Let me see what this looks like for now. So, oh, we already have it open. Here we go. Refresh. Okay. So we have a button that doesn't say anything. Let's say it says submit. Save, refresh. All right, good. That looks better. Let me see if there's a block for this. No. Okay. Block. Button. Nope, they don't have that. Okay. Oh, I know, I can color the div. So let me color it. Let's pick a different color. Let's do this one. Green darken 3. So forget the button. Let's just color the div. Nope. Okay, there we go. So I needed to put something in there. So notice how this green goes all the way from left to right, taking up all 12 columns. How do I give this a nice margin? Container, good. So I'm going to do class equals container. Save that, refresh. Oh man, how come it only did one side? All right, I'm not going to worry about this for now. So I'll remove the container. just because I need to explain the grid system. So there we go. So that's taking up all 12. If I wanted to do something only halfway, div class, nope, div class equals call S6. And I'll do red. Save, refresh. Oh, I need to put some text in here. More text. Save, refresh. So now we have something taking up only half of the column, half of the row. So oops, Control Z. Let's say I do orange. Save, refresh. So this is how you would start structuring your page. If you want two things in a row, let's say you want a picture side by side, then you can put them using 6 columns each. So remember, you have to think of a total of 12 columns per row. If I wanted, let's say, 4 images in a row taking up the same amount of space, how big would I make the number of columns for each picture? 3. Good, because 3 times 4, 3 columns times 4 pictures would equal 12. So let's say I do, so technically I'm supposed to end this row here. That's where this row ends. And you can leave comments to yourself so that you know what these divs do. Ends row. And then technically I should have created a new row. Class equals row. And then again, end row. So refresh, there we go. So it gives it some buffer in between each. So like I was saying before, if you wanted to do 4 things in a row, you would do 3. And there we go. So this is how you start spacing things out. Notice when you change the size of the columns changes so that it so that you don't have the user doesn't have to scroll more to the left or more to the right, even though the size of the device or screen is a lot smaller. It just adjusts to the size. Whereas remember, if we looked at the school website, it doesn't do that. If you bring it all the way to the left, this is not responsive. The user is forced to scroll to the right in order to see the entire page or the rest of the page. Okay, cool. Now, so far we only did S12. I want you to consider the other sizes. So in the grid system, let me scroll down. Here we go. Class prefix. So small sizes, mobile devices 600 pixels or less. Tablet devices medium 992 pixels or less. And then desktop, so like laptops, computers, that's L. So S for small, M for tablets, medium, L for large, which means desktop computers. So let's say for here, we have a lot of text. It might be too difficult for the user to read all this text in the way it's broken up now. So if we're thinking of people who are looking at our site on mobile phones, and chances are they probably will see your site first on a mobile phone before they open it on a desktop computer. Let me get some text. Yes. Go ahead. You don't have to ask. You can just go. Okay. So remember that site that we learned from in the tutorials, lorem ipsum. So I'll grab this text here. Copy. I'll paste this here, 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 and here. Save that. Refresh. So on a regular desktop computer, this may look fine for the user to read. However, on a cell phone, that's a lot of scrolling that the person's going to have to do to read this, and a lot of squinting of the eyes. So what you could do is make adjustments. So instead of taking up a quarter of the row, we can say take up the whole thing if it's on a small screen. So we'll change all these to S12. However, if it's on a large screen, let's keep it in quarters. So 3 columns each for large devices. Command S and refresh. There you go. So now it's much more manageable for the user to read on their cell phone. However, when you stretch it to a desktop, it's still broken up in quarters. It's each taking up 3 columns out of the 4 rows, out of the 12 columns in 1 row, I should say. Any questions on that? Yes. All right, so